And we're rolling. Hi, I'm Ron. I'm on my lunch break. Had a question about the difference between DMT and heaven. Well, I've had some experiences, a lot of experiences with hallucinogenics, not DMT. But what I can tell you from the hallucinogenics, I remember other realms being more real than real. The drugs opening you up to other realms, and other doing ceremonies as well, shamanic stuff, Native American, Lakota. Did that for quite a few years. Had cars move in broad daylight in groups of people, kind of like out of Ghost. Things talk to me, high and sober, mostly sober though. And then, as far as seeing things like hallucinogenics, mine was more like realms opening up and then spirits, encountering spirits while high and sober, mostly sober, and in groups of people, so it wasn't just me. And having the emotional encounter with them. Now, there was power there, but there was no love. And there was always a price to pay when they talk about ego death and the pain you feel, or anxiety and terror. That's not your ego death. That's just you dying. That's just you about to go over the edge. Um, that's actually part of what Jesus would be calling outer darkness and a separation from God, because our souls can experience uh, God and Satan, and without now this is where it's going to be a Christian perspective. The difference between DMT, the experience of this realm, and heaven is, with Jesus there is a payment, there's a sacrifice for any shortcomings we've had that restores us into right standing with God, so that we feel absolutely clean, absolutely pure, absolutely loved, with no need to do a drug, because it's by faith that you accept Jesus, and Jesus is a spirit and he comes into your life, and he will show himself to be the spirit of life, truth, love, peace. Now, there is a thing called the fear of the Lord, which is to hate every evil thing. So when you meet God, you might feel kind of like the Wayne's World, I'm not worthy, but it's not so much like I'm a worm. It's more like, oh my gosh, I missed the mark. And then God will also, in that moment, at least this is what he did for me, he goes, now that you know who you are without me, let me show you who you are with me. And heaven is absolute peace, love, joy, happiness, a joy unspeakable. Um, Now, I encountered Jesus 20 years ago in the middle of a dirt field by myself with no even grid for this. Didn't even have a clue what was going to happen. And he hasn't split, and his experience is with me. His spirit has been with me every day for 20 years, since November 13th, 1999, about 2:30 in the afternoon, till today. And the love I can encounter with him is pretty much whenever it's like saying hi to a friend on the phone, except it's face to face by the spirit, and the contact is immediate and profound. I never had that with the drugs. I might meet something for a while, and then I'd get sober and I'd lose it. Like, you feel like you're gaining great knowledge on drugs, and then you lose it. With Jesus, it's just the opposite. You gain an experience, and it might be off your grid for a while, and then it just keeps it's love washing into you, and he talks with you to bring you into a fullness of identity, which is a reconciliation between us and God. What was lost in the Garden of Eden is restored through Jesus, and that it is kept fresh day by day by his Spirit, and it is to grow in it. If we let him, if we work at it, not so much, if we work at it like a relationship, he will grow in us, so that his Spirit is with us with me, and it can be with you, all the time. And this is the cool thing. When someone gets mean, and because the things are crazy right now, so that if someone attacks me, I can love my enemy. And so I can bless those that curse me. I can pray for those who spitefully use me. And I can pray, now, and I'm all about justice and, but I don't go eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, and if you tap me, I'm gonna blow you, like, instead of like someone bumps you, you hit them, at least, that's in the world. Because they're starting to fight with Jesus. It's not so much to be a pushover, but if someone bumps you, you're like, fine, have at it. But there is a reconciliation. God is, he's an accountant. If someone, it's like the cross. Jesus took the hit, though he could have destroyed anyone. He goes, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they're doing. And out of that, he was able to conquer. He took the hit of death, hell, and the grave, overcame it, and then it overcame it for all of us who call on his name, so that we can appropriate heaven into this life now, in this physical form, and we could have the joy of heaven in this life, so that when things are crazy, we can bring meekness, kindness, temperance, long-suffering, reason into crazy situations. That's the difference I see between DMT and just drugs in general, and Jesus, and what heaven is like. Heaven is not just a place, it is a person. It is Jesus. And when you experience him, you are experiencing heaven. And you don't need to do a drug or a ceremony, and it is by faith, so anybody can do it wherever you're at, whatever condition you're in. You come to him as you are, and then he comes to you as he is. And then he brings us into who he is, into his likeness, because you become what you behold. Anyhow, and since he is good and loving and kind, as it's my choice, as I think on him, his spirit rises up, and so that I will be like him. And it's power, love, and a sound mind. And I was in burnout, couldn't remember my friend's sister's name without trying, Mary Kay. And that was bad. And then in a short amount of time, God healed my mind by his spirit. You keep doing drugs, eventually you become the burnout, or you get all tweaked out, and you're having to perform all kinds of ceremonies. And that the afterlife is this. Jesus is pretty much, he's black and white, on or off. You with me, it's good. You against me, it's bad. Now that's the bad news. The good news is, if you're with him, it starts now and it's good forever. And up until the day you die, everyone has a chance. So I'm not coming down on anybody. I'm not saying who's saved or not, but I'll just say, before you take your last breath, make sure you give it to him, because then when you wake up in eternity, it's good. So the difference between DMT and heaven, that's just a brief look. Read the Bible, Google it. Heaven is vastly different. I can go into that maybe another time, but that's just a quick look into my experience with Jesus as heaven on earth. Jesus in my life, and then the drugs that I've had in my life and the difference that they've been. So with that, I hope that you like it, or at least have a little better insight. Got a question, got an opinion, leave it. If it's kind, I'll keep it. If not, it's gone, but I don't mind talking. So be blessed, that is to be happy now. In Jesus' name, good day.